Alright, we're going to talk about negative to commands. We're going to talk about someone we know casually telling them not to do something, and these are different than the affirmatives, okay? And they are sort of, you have to resist the urge to think that you're doing something wrong. So, what do? To do a negative to command, the first thing you start with obviously is no. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take, we're going to fill in the blank in a second. You're going to take the yo form of a verb. So for instance, let's take like hablar. So the yo form of hablar is hablo. Alright? We'll get rid of the yo, and then we're going to add the opposite ending. So hablar is an AR verb. So naturally you would say, oh, you need to add o asamo san to an AR verb. No, we're going to add, for an AR verb, we're going to add ER ends. So what does that mean? So we have hablo, and the to form of the ER endings is hables. So no hables is don't talk. Don't talk. Alright? And so for ERIRs, it would be AR ends. So for instance, if I say don't eat, no, now so we have comer, which normally the to form would be comes, but we're saying ERI verbs, we add AR ends, so you have to resist the urge to be grammatically correct, sort of, to start off with. You say no comas. So, for instance, no comas comida grasosa, don't eat greasy, fatty foods. That's how you'd say, no hables cuando el profesor habla. That's how you'd say that. So it's sort of confusing that you have the opposite end. So what are just some things that you need to look at when you're doing these? Also, is the yo forms. So I said use the yo form, but we have so many irregular yo forms. You have go verbs, which is a video on go verbs, but like caer, caigo, oír, oigo, tener is tengo, pongo, salgo, hago, vengo, digo. Ver is actually veo. We keep the e in there. So those you have to think of. So your stems for all these, for like caer would be caig, tener would be teng. Okay? So if you're saying somebody, you know, don't have a good day, no tengas un buen día. Alright? So you'd have to use tener. You know? So that's tough. You have boot verbs like jugar. So jugar is jueg. Alright? So you would use this one right here, which is jueg. So you have a stem change in the yo form stem that you're going to use for a negative to command. You have a verb like destruir, which is I to Y. Okay, you just add it in there. Destruyo. So your stem would be destruy, like that. Escoger, a GER verb, be G to J, escojo. So your stem would be escojo, without the O. Okay, and you have like CER verbs, so SCO verbs, like conocer. Merecer is to deserve, merezco. Obedecer, ofrecer, those verbs. So, one other thing you got to be worried about is like I said, if I said, you know, don't play baseball in the house. So what do you got? You have jugar, the yo form is jueg. Okay, and it's an AR verb, so we're going to add ES endings. Uh-oh, jueges. There's a pronunciation issue there. So you actually still have to worry about verbs that end in car, gar, and zar. So, for instance, we had no juegues is a G-A-R verb. We have to add a U in there to make that hard G sound happen. This happens in the preterito too, the preterite tense, where you have to add the same things to these. So car verb, they say, don't touch me. And here's another thing. Okay? This is a direct object pronoun, the word may here. You cannot connect it like you can with an affirmative. When you have a negative command, you have to disconnect it, and it goes in between the no and the conjugated verb, which is actually in this negative to form. So, no me, don't touch me. Now, so if I had, so tocar is an AR verb, to touch. If I had, it's an AR verb, so I had ES ending. Toses, no good. Alright? So you change the C to QU. No me toques, don't touch me. Okay? And then, don't eat lunch in class. is we're actually going to change this Z to C, to ease down the Z sound. So no, al. Oh, and almorzar is a boot verb. So your stem is actually almuerces. You got to be careful of that. So you have a change there, and you have a boot verb, a boot stem change also. So that's pretty much the gist of -2 commands, and there's a lot to think of, and you have to resist the urge to be grammatically correct, sort of, to start with. That's good.